No Assists Championship. My name is Captain Stiff from the F3 League, and I will be in the commentary box with you tonight for this race around the British Grand Prix at Silverstone in Northamptonshire. So, sorry guys, just had to take a quick drink there. So yes, welcome to Silverstone. The British Grand Prix, home of British motorsport. Along with Italy, Britain is the only country have held a Formula 1 Grand Prix since Formula 1's inception back in the 1950 season. So, although Britain has held its Grand Prix at other circuits such as Donington Park and Brands Hatch, Britain, along with Italy, co-currently has held the record for the most amount of Grand Prix of all time. Today we attack the Arena Grand Prix circuit of 18 turns, 5.8 kilometres and 3.6 miles around the Northamptonshire countryside circuit. It's the Arena Grand Prix circuit layout which has been used since the 2011 season started. We did have a brief 2010 season just after the track was relaid and redesigned, but we moved to a slightly quicker layout in the Arena Grand Prix circuit just afterwards. Before that, it was used from 97, I believe, up until 2010 with the older circuit. We then lost the bridge section, which was actually one of my favourite parts of the racetrack, but you know, amateur for you all. It's actually the longest pit lane in the F1 calendar, and drivers have to be careful because they go from a very quick straight into the have to slow it right down to get it on the limiter to get into the pit lane. So the pit stop here is reckoned to take about 23 seconds. So the guys here, they've got to focus into the fact that if they're going to gap it when they come in for their pit stops, that around 23 seconds for your stop to get in and out. It's a long way in, and it's also the pit exit feeds right into sort of the loop and the farm and the village corner, so right into sort of the third turn. So the guys got to really make sure that when they do come out that they're looking to the left hand side for the cars coming past on the inside, because you can find yourself feeding out right into traffic. Pole position here will be on the left hand side, which is the cleaner side of the race circuit. That actually gives you the racing line going into turn 1, which can be taken, well, in the dry, will most likely be taken flat out. Of course, at the moment we're expecting it's dry for the race so far, and I'm just looking, it's also a dry race, so we will be expecting dry conditions all the way through, as we'll just go on board Joel here, who's just come out of the pit lane as he's making his way through the loop section. There are two DRS zones, one that Joel's just going down here through as the Wellington Straight, and the second coming down the longer straight towards the end of the lap, and that's the Hangar Straight. Now the cars around here will find that they do have quite high tyre wear. The high speeds and the high speed corners, especially with the load on the outside tyres, as Joel getting very twitchy there coming out of that right hander. And what you will see is, watch out for the guys as they come down towards the circuit, the corner that Joel is attacking here. That's Cop's corner there, so can be taken flat out, especially on fresh tyres, but as soon as you start wearing that rubber in, you can find yourself running a little bit wider each time, and you will start picking up track extended penalties if you run over the white line and come back onto the circuit having not lost any time. Of course, with a lot of high speed corners and high speed straights, there is quite a lot of decent overtaking opportunities around Silverstone with the two DRS zones, but also into some of the slower corners such as the club section that Joel's just going into now. As long as you get alongside, it can be a quite nice run. But what we did see at the end of last season, the No Assist League, was Speed Queen, having led the race pretty much the entire way through, lost it by I believe it was with Mero going into that last corner onto the new pit straight. Well, Mero took a slightly tighter line and just ran out a little bit wide and just put Speed Queen into the wall. But going back to the tyre wear situation, so what we saw last season was Game of the Best, who came in actually ran on the soft tyres for around 14 laps and actually managed to pick up a puncture on the last lap of the race with about a sector and a half to go. So that shows you 14 laps on the soft tyres, just how hard these tyres will be pushed as we go around these circuits. As Joel comes down the old main straight and through Copse Corner, as you see there, he does just runs a bit wide, gets a bit twitchy coming off, but it's going to set him up for the hardest complex of possibly one of the hardest complex of corners on the F1 calendar of Maggots, Beckett's, Aintree and into Chapel. He comes down the hanger straight, down towards Stowe. Don't want to lock up the brakes as Joel takes it nice and tight through his tires. As you see there, we've got our a new driver in the league, as Merrill D2 goes fastest at the moment with a 31.5. So it's Tumas is of course one of our new drivers as Joel crosses the line. Yeah, so it looks like he invalidated his lap there, most likely at Copse Corner. Yeah, so we welcome Tumas to the league. He is joined of Stifler, takes a lovely lap there. Of course, last week was the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and it was won by this man here, Mystic Man 22, who took the win, actually finished second on the circuit, just behind Stifler, but due to penalties was bumped up, and so in his debut race at the IRL No Assist League took a debut win. But we'll see today if he's got the same sort of pace as he had last week in Italy. This Mystic in the Haas comes round as he starts to come just through Vale, and he comes into the pit, so he's pulled out of that lap. We'll go back on. We'll go so with Craig in the Red Bull as he sweeps through Maggot and Beckett's, through Aintree, into Chapel, onto the hanger straight. He'll open that DRS, the flap comes down on that Red Bull, and he's going to come up to Stowe, get it nice. Don't want to lock up coming into that right hand. It does slightly lock up on the right hand side, runs over nicely on the apex on the outside, and into Club, locks up a little bit. And it's on for a decent time at the moment. It doesn't look like it's going to trouble Stifler. Oh, only just. Or 0.6 of a second in, puts him in second place. So front row of the grid so far for Craig 8728 in the Red Bull, but with a couple of fast guys in the pits at the moment, such as Jamie 6328, who took pole position in Monza last week. I think we can expect to see this grid change up quite a bit, as we see Malk there, who actually set a 32.9 on the medium tyres. So not bad at all from Malk, who looks like he's putting a vast strategy difference in there from some of the other guys. So yeah, not bad, as you say, Spud. Not bad from Craig there. So good evening. Please feel free, guys. I'm quite happy to engage with you tonight. So if you've got any comments or any suggestions or anything you think I've missed during the race, please let me know. I'm more than happy to get engaged with you as we go out throughout the evening. As we'll go down, just Mero, who's in the Red Bull alongside Craig, looking to improve on his time with a 131.3 as he gets a little bit of a toe coming off of that Sauber. So we'll see if that's helped with his time at all. Keeps it nice and tight going through Stowe as he runs wider at Vale, but he pulls into the pit lane, and so does the Sauber. So those two have bailed out of their lap, as it's Jamie 6328 who is out in the Williams on his out lap, as he's going to start lining himself up for a fast lap. By the looks of it, he's going to have quite a nice empty track to set that time on, so not having to worry about following anyone in their dirty air. Now, of course, we go around Silverstone. We do have, of course, very famous moments that have happened here. Of course, there's I keep saying, of course, there's the famous image of Mansell giving Senna a lift back to the pits after the McLaren broke down, as we see Jamie there just drifting out of the first section of the club section as he starts his lap. It was the maiden win for Johnny Herbert, who took it in the Benetton, and Michael Schumacher, who controversially won the 1998 British Grand Prix from within the pit lane after serving a time penalty where his pit box was just ahead of the finish line. So he also then unfortunately broke his leg the next year in '99 at Stowe Corner. So it's been a scene for quite a few exciting races over the years. So we're expecting the same tonight. So we see Jamie here, so he's just coming down to Copse Corner here. Does he take it flat? Doesn't sound like he's lifted at all. Runs a little bit wide coming out. Does run over the wood, but we'll see if it has invalidated his lap. So Jamie now coming on to the hanger straight. DRS is open, so he comes down into Stowe, through Vale and into the club section. It does look like it's going to be a decent time, so is this going to push Stifler off with the top spot? It might just put him on the second row of the grid. So Chilnillian, who I've missed that one, but Chilnillian put himself on the second, in second place with a 1:30.2. So it is Stifler 1980, the man who's cracking time there from Stifler so far. As we'll go on board here with Joel V520 in the Ferrari. Had a good race in Monza last week, but did find himself kind of picking up a span twice at Ascari, so really kind of hampered himself. But he did have decent pace throughout the race. As if he hadn't made the mistakes he had, you would have seen him much further up the grid than you did. Now you don't see Nicky 9095 tonight, so Nicky is missing the race tonight. So what that does do is that brings Chilnillian and Betrayer right into it. So they'll be really hoping to score some decent points tonight, because it is those two that are chasing Nicky for the driver's standings at the moment. So Betrayer especially, who's I believe only 2 points behind at the moment, will be, especially after his as Joel gets very twitchy there coming into the loop section. So yeah, it was Betrayer who had a very sketchy time in Monza, found himself right down the back end of the top 10, did not enjoy the race whatsoever. So he will be looking to score a lot more points here today than he was scoring last week. Now, two people that will also be looking for a slightly better race this week will be Craig and Mal, because we do have a yellow in Sector 3. Is it? Oh, it's Betrayer, who's retired on circuit. Seems to be coming into the club section, just coming onto the start-finish line. So it's Craig. Oh, so it's Craig that lost it into the club section. It is Betrayer who's retired in the pit lane, as Stifler does a 29.2, so takes 0.2 of a second off of his time. So cracking time there for the Renault driver, who seems to be the man in form at the moment. Was dominant last week during the race and was leading quite comfortably. It was only by penalties that he lost out, as Joel V520 takes off. As I was saying, that Stifler was doing so well, Joel absolutely nails a lap and throws in a 29.7. so we'll go on board and see if anyone here is setting a hotter lap. We've got Tumas, the new driver this week in the Sauber. Was known during this practice race, he did do a absolutely rocket lap around here, so straight into the Sauber, because I think some of the guys, he almost goes into the back of the Ferrari. So absolutely tighter than a duck's butt is there. I think Tumas would have been feeling coming out of the loop section there onto the Wellington straight. Is that going to have compromised his lap come to the start? Because we are at the end of qualifying now, so this will be the only decent lap in that he will get to set after setting his banker lap of 131.6. So we'll hope to improve on that. So we go back through. So the Sauber of Tumas making his way up. So Malk, who did go back onto the Super Softs, has set a time of 131.1. So that puts him in 7th place in the moment, as Tumas comes around the club section. As he comes through the final turn, does he set a better time? He doesn't manage to. So takes 0.4 of a second off his best time, but still keeps himself in 8th place. So the Sauber maybe not enjoying the higher speed sections such as the Wellington Straight and the Hangar Straight, as it does look like that may be it for qualifying. So not a bad session for some of the guys here. Look, quite promising, but I mean, look at the gap between first and second. That's an 0.8 of a second between Joel and Stiffer in second. So Joel absolutely nailing that lap, throwing absolute lightning as he goes around this circuit. Look at, so Joel takes pole position in the Ferrari with a 1:29 flat. Stifler 1980 in the Renault with a 1:29.8 takes second, with Chill Nealand in third, Jamie 6328 in fourth, with Craig in fifth, with Mystic Man in sixth, Malk, that's F1 WWFC 07, that's seventh, Tumus in eighth, Mero D2 in ninth, with Eye Makers and Betrayer finishing in 10th and 11th without setting a time. So I think we can expect quite an exciting race tonight. Some of the guys here we've seen from previous seasons very quick around here. And do we see Betrayer go for a slightly different strategy to some of the guys up the top that will be starting on the super soft tyres? So is there potential for Betrayer to maybe start on the soft tyres, maybe even start on the medium tyres, although he'll find himself losing quite a bit of time at the start of the race as soon as the super soft start going off, which won't be too long into the race because there is quite high tyre wear here. So I think it'll be a risk, but it's definitely something that Betrayer, he has got the speed to do it, so we know that he has got the confidence and the speed to do it. Does he take that risk? Now, of course, we have stressed here that you don't start the race until the admins are ready, because we've had two jumpings of the gun in the last two races. So luckily, it looks like the guys are following it tonight. But of course, guys, if you are watching for the first time here and you're new to IRL, feel free to jump onto our socials at Invictus RL on Twitter or our website at invictusracingleagues.com. Sign up if you're new to IRL. Speak to some of our admins who are more than happy to get you in for a practice race within the league, or speak to some of the drivers and find out what they think. Of course, if you would like to support us in any way, we are trying to make this league even bigger and better each year. So we have got a donation zone, and we've also got a merchandise store. So if there is anything IRL branded that you do have your eye on, feel free, because any support, even if it is just a follow on any of our socials, is more than welcome. Of course, this isn't the only IRL event of the week. So tomorrow night we have the Performance League. So some of the quickest drivers you'll see in Formula One esports attacking the Silverstone circuit in the Performance League tomorrow night. And on Wednesday night it is our F1, F2 and F3. So what I would say in a biased way, some of the most competitive and fun races you'll find on Twitch, and if anywhere on live Formula One esports. Some cracking battles up and down through the grid. You won't find anyone that says a bad word about any of the races so far. There's been absolute worldy battles from first to second all the way down to 19th and 20th places throughout the league. So feel free to give any of our channels a follow on Twitch, and we will hopefully put on a good show for you, as we see the guys are readying up for the race now. So it's only 15 seconds until lights out. Of course, there's no formation lap anymore within our league, purely due to the fact that there used to be there is the glitch that sometimes formation lap can put your setup back to stock. So we will go straight into the race here. So here we go. It is 5 and we are go at the Silverstone Grand Prix in Great Britain, and it is Joel that's got a good start off of zone, and he's going to come in sweep round, maintains his position, and Joel already pulling away. The guys all have got away pretty cleanly back throughout the grid. We'll go back, and it's the two Red Bulls that are both fighting. It looks like the Malk it was that ran wide, as he's dropped all the way back to 11th position. And the guys all charging up towards Luffield as they come in, and quite a nice start. No one's had to worry about any sort of wing problems so far, so exactly what all the drivers would have wanted to see. They can start to slowly get into a rhythm as we see here Chilnillian already starting to have a look at the back of Stifler. These two drivers all well known for being very quick but also very fair. Chill will want to get himself as far up as possible because he's going to be trying to challenge for that driver's title. Finds himself about 8 points behind now, but with Nicky not racing tonight, it's a real opportunity for Chill. Now it was Betrayer. He did go for the slight different strategy. He's gone for the soft tyres, whereas iMakers has gone to attempt to run long on the medium. So Betrayer has gone for a different strategy to the others. So interesting to see what the pace will be like at the start of the race compared to the end of the stint of the guys on the supers. As Joel crosses the line to finish the first lap with a 1 second lead already. So great start by Joel there. This will stay on board with Chill for now. He does lock up slightly going into the loop section. This is going to bring Jamie behind him into play. So the Williams driver of Jamie 6328, quick driver, and is well known for kind of putting in some hot laps. Showed real promise last week in Monza, so had a really decent race. It's all about keeping it on the track. Can these guys maintain grip throughout Cops, throughout Maggots, throughout Beckett's? So keeping it on the road through that section is going to be the hardest thing. And Mystic Man here, so your race winner from last time out in Monza, sitting in 5th position, so not doing too badly at the moment. He's following the back of Jamie and not too far off the back of Chill as well, so we'll be looking as we see a Haas going slowly. That's Chill, so must have gone wide coming out of Chapel, and that's allowed Mystic and Jamie through, so Chill drops right back, and this has closed these three right up. So all of them are going to start battling going into the club section. Do we see another Haas dive up the inside? No, we don't. So Chill is starting to wobble around a little bit, and that's bringing Tumas in the Sauber back into play as well. So Tumas is starting to catch up with the back of Chill as well. So whatever happened to Chill, it seems to have slightly unnerved him because he's getting very wiggly coming into some of these corners. Tumas in the Sauber is starting to close up right up to the back of these two Haas cars. I think we might see DRS being activated, and he might become a little bit of a threat. As we go down, Betrayer, who seems to have lost it as well, because Betrayer has dropped back down to 11th position. So nightmare for Betrayer, who wants to, on those soft tyres, keep it as clean as possible to get him a decent run going into the end of the super soft stint. So guys here all running quite nicely, so around a half-second gap between 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment, with Craig now catching up to the back, with the two Red Bulls catching up to the back of Tumas. So a bit of a train forming behind the Williams car of Jamie, with the two Hasses of Mystic and Chill, with Tumas in the Sauber, and then you've got Craig and Mero in the Red Bulls, not far behind at all. So currently you've got 3rd through to 8th place split by just over 3.5 seconds. So race wide open so far for, well, say race wide open, Joel has pulled him out a 3-second lead so far. So might be a case of who's going to fight for the podium as opposed to who's going to fight for the win, because at the moment it looks like Joel's going to run away with this Nicky 9095 style. So Nicky's been well documented so far of dominating some of the races. Is it Joel's turn to lay down the marker? So we'll go down to iMakers. iMakers at the back here with Malk and Betrayer. So the guys at the back still having a decent battle. iMakers, who's in his third race of IRL. Has found it quite tricky throughout the first two. Has retired from both of them with having made multiple errors and a few spins here and there. So we'll be looking for a more positive result out. Seems to be getting quite a good pace out of those medium tyres where he's... Oh, commentator's curse there as he runs wide. So, but he is managing to keep on the back of that super soft tired Force India of Malkus. Oh, it's definitely commentator's curse there as he's finding it a little bit tricky. That should bring Betrayer right back into it with the DRS open. Now, does Betrayer make a move down into Stowe? No, he's going to stay nice and tight. You want to get a good run coming through Vale. Betrayer nice and tight on the apex. He's going to try and do the switch back on the Renault, but the Renault seems to have it covered. He does take the racing line. Now it's going to be a run down to the first corner. As you see there, Craig has made the move on Tumas. So Craig got the move done on Tumas into what looked like the farm section and the loop. So good move from there from Craig to move himself up into 6th position. But Tumas will now... Yeah, so Tumas is going to try and come back at Craig. Craig did have DRS, so not bad from Craig. Is down in 10th position, so Betrayer moving up into a points position here, and he's now got a good 4 seconds to catch up to get to the back of Malk again. Good evening, Fascone. Nice to have you on board for the stream. And like I was saying, guys, if anyone wants to make any comments, feel free to throw them into the comments box. I'm more than happy to engage with you this evening. I am in the box tonight on my own, never miss. Unfortunately, couldn't make it tonight, so it's always nice to have someone to talk to. As we'll go on board here with Mystic Man 22 in the Haas, who's only 0.4 of a second behind Jamie 6328. So the two drivers that are in their second races for IRL, running quite nicely up in 3rd and 4th. Joel's now pulled out his lead to 5.1 seconds, so Joel just getting on with it and taking that Ferrari as far away from everyone else as possible. Whilst Stifler, he's got about just under a second's lead back from Jamie at the moment, so Jamie slowly catching up to the back of Stifler. As we see Mystic keeping up to the back, using that DRS, pulling up quite nicely, does slightly outbrake himself going out of the Wellington straight and into Luffield. As they come out through Woodcote, down the old pit straight. And they're going to come into Copse Corner, take it as essentially as flat as they can. Nice and tight there for Mystic as he comes around it, whereas Jamie ran wide over the outside line. So nice run there for Mystic, and he's going to get a good run through Maggots and Beckett's, out through Chapel, onto the Hangar straight, and they've got the DRS open here. So the two Hasses here, both starting to chase down Jamie, who's looks like he's going to start getting held up behind the Renault of Stifler 1980. So Stifler could find himself holding up this gaggle of cars that's going to start forming behind him. We'll go down Mero D2. Here's 0.7 of a second behind Tumas in the Sauber. So Mero has had a bit of a shaky start to the season, has found himself kind of here or there, just a couple of decent results, but then a couple of silly mistakes. So we'll be looking for some solid points tonight if possible. We know that he has got the speed to do it, but it's all about the application, as we see both drivers there, the Red Bull and the Sauber, sliding slightly coming out of the loop. So we'll go back up to the Haas battle here. And it's Mystic Man 22, who's 0.5 of a second behind Jamie 6328. This might come down to a battle of who makes the first move as we get into the pit stop. So does anyone go for the undercut on anyone else? We've seen some very early pit stops last week. Some of the guys wanted to try a different strategy to everyone else. So do we see anyone here dive in a little bit earlier and Is it a case of going super soft to the soft and hoping that they hold out, or do people go more conservative and go super soft to the mediums? So go on board with Craig here. So Craig nicely doing around 6th position at the moment. So quite a heavy lock-up going into club section there. So you'll want to be looking after these tyres here. They do need to last you a couple more laps before you can start thinking about a pit stop, especially if the guys are looking to go on to the soft tyre and do a one-stop strategy. We know that the one-stop around here is most effective. You'll just lose too much time with a two-stop. So we'll go back up and we see the two Hasses still battling with Mystic, and Mystic now tucked right up behind the back of Jamie, and also Chill. Jamie takes the defensive line going into Brooklands, now through Luffield. Mystic's right up in the gearbox. Equally, Chill is going to be right up behind the other Haas driver. That's who keeps it tightest through Cops. That's all pretty neat there from the three drivers. So Jamie has just pulled out a little bit of a lead of Mystic, who was driving a little bit defensively. He saw Chill nearly coming from behind him as he runs slightly wide coming out, but two of them, both the Haas drivers, are going to get DRS coming down the hangar straight, so should void each other's drag. So nice big lock up there for the Williams driver coming into the club section, as it is Mystic that stays behind him, and once again he gets up very close coming out of the club section in to Abbey, around to the farm, as they start to enter the loop section, as Chill pulls right up to the back of Mystic 22. So Mystic here having to run that line between trying to attack and get up to the back of Jamie, but having to look at his mirrors a lot, because he knows that Chill is right up behind him, potentially can throw it down, as we see Chill just behind, getting very close to the back of the Haas driver there. So Chill looking very racy, seems to get a better run coming out of Luffield and through Woodcote. So the three drivers here all seem to be kind of voiding each other's paces by having slightly better runs through different corners. So it's Jamie that seems to be taking this next section of corners through Maggots, Beckett's, Aintree and Chapel slightly better than Mystic and Chill, who will be caught in that dirty air of the Williams. They seem to be a little bit close this time, as the DRS opens on the Haas cars, and Chill Nilliand is not close enough behind at the moment to make the move done. So this might be the time that he gets the move, and he throws it down the inside. Does he get locked up? He does. So great move there from Chill, who Daniel Ricciardo style, as Mystic tries to come back at him, doesn't quite get it done. So like Daniel Ricciardo, just lick the stamp and send it, as he says, threw it into the start of the club section, hoping to get the car stopped in time. Didn't run out wide, didn't compromise it too much. It has let Jamie, Jamie did come in for a pit stop, so it is the two Haas drivers that stayed out there, so didn't move that so spud. Yeah, it was a decent move, can't fault that one at all. So nicely deserved this. We see Mystic coming back at him with DRS. Is he going to get it done getting in? He does take the inside line as they go into Brooklands. Of course, he's now on the outside. He's going to have to go round Luffield on the outside. So Chill maintains the position, but through Woodcote, Mystic, they're still battling going down as they come towards Cops. Two cars flash over the rumble strips there, as you see the two Haas drivers coming into Maggots, Beckett and Aintree. Who gets a nicer run coming out? It looks like Mystic behind got a slightly nicer run coming out of Chapel. He's going to get DRS again as he looks to the inside at Stowe, doesn't quite get it done here. Now, is it the leading Haas here that dives into the pit lane and takes off those super soft tyres? It is. So Lillian comes into the pit lane. So the problem with the guys here, with the fact that they're not, so you're not teammates with the other driver in your respective livery, so there's no team orders. So essentially that was a battle of who was going to get the pit stop first, who was going to get that opportunity, as Tumas runs slightly wide coming out of Abbey there. So it was Chilled that managed to get onto those soft tyres a little bit earlier than Mystic, who's going to have to do another lap out on those old super softs. So we see a couple of strategy changes here from everyone. So it is Jamie who's gone for the medium tyre. Jamie was running up in third position, as he's going to come out just ahead of Chill, but Chill is actually going to come under attack from Craig, who's also already made his pit stop. So seems to have lost a little bit of time there, because Craig was much further behind Chilled. Now he's going to be tucked up right behind the back of him as they come into the DRS zone of the Wellington Straight. So Craig does get DRS. He doesn't quite make the move just yet, but we do know with Craig, as soon as he smells blood in the water, he's very good at hassling the back of the driver in front and making them look in their mirrors continuously. I think you can expect to see Mystic, Tumas and Joel coming in very soon. As we'll go back up. So Joel stayed out another lap, so still feels confident on those super soft tyres and doesn't want to risk moving on to the softs too early and making sure they're fresher by the end of the race. I mean, he's got enough time. He's got a huge gap at the moment to the Tumas now in second after Mystic Man has come into the pit lane. So Joel currently with a 18.9 seconds lead, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it was Stifler who was in effective second place when the stop was made. So Stifler still quite far behind, but at the moment Joel has almost got an entire pit stop free on the guys behind him. So cracking race from Joel so far, as Craig picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's most likely track extending. You will find yourself, especially through Cops and Maggots and Beckett's and Aintree in that section of corners, it's very easy just to, if you don't have your line absolutely bang on each lap in, lap out, finding yourself running wide and picking up a penalty every now and then. So once again, as we look down through the grid so far. So your grid so far is Joel in first with Tumas in second, who hasn't made, or those two haven't made a stop yet. With Betrayer in third, who is still in the soft tyres that he started on. So Betrayer up to third position as Joel does come in to make his first and most likely only pit stop of the race. Betrayer running in third on those soft tyres that he started on, so he will be able to finish on the super soft. So gives him an advantage when we come towards the end of the race, as we see Chilled slightly running wide coming out of Beckett's there, as Joel and Tumas both made their pits, with Joel moving on to the super softs, and I can Joel moving on to the softs, and Tumas I can imagine will also be moving on to the softs. This far in, moving on to the mediums might just lose you too much time. Stifler sets the fastest lap of the race with a 32.7 on his new soft, so good lap there from Stifler. As we see Joel, who does come out, and he's just ahead of, so he's just ahead of eye makers in the other Renault to Stifler. So Stifler, who is essentially in medium tyres, so will be going a lot longer into this race. So running a little bit wide coming out of Luffield there. Now, what it is does Betrayer have the pace on these soft tyres coming towards the end of his stint? So probably eke out maybe another 3 or 4 laps of those soft tyres, especially as they were fresh, because he started outside of the top 10. So it's all on how has Betrayer looked after his tyres. Doesn't want to run out too wide just there, so yeah, stays out another lap here. So I think we can expect to see Betrayer in perhaps lap 15, lap 16. That gives them 11 laps on the super soft tyres. That should just be about enough. Stifler gets the move done on iMakers, who comes in quite early on the medium tyres. So Stifler coming in off the iMakers coming in off the mediums in shorter, after doing a shorter distance than Betrayer has on the soft. So doesn't look like he's got any front wing damage there. So Mystic picks up a 3-second time penalty as we go on board with Craig, who's now only 0.1 of a second behind Chill. Oh, as Chill takes a wide line, it's going to be a dive. These two are going to have to battle going into the loop session. Craig tries to do the switch back, tries to take the inside line, but Chill covers it off quite nicely as they go onto the Wellington straight. But Craig is going to get DRS. We'll go on board with Craig here. Has fallen back slightly, back to 0.5 of a second behind. Saw him make quite a late lunge going into the farm corner and the loop section there. So yeah, Craig, Chill may have made a mistake earlier than that, because Craig's now dropped back 1 second back. So, and he's actually got Mystic. I missed that, but Mystic now on the charge wants to clear Craig as soon as possible. So Mystic getting a little bit of a wiggle on coming out. But he does get DRS. He's going to look to get the move done. Does Craig cover him off? He tries to. He just jinks to the right, but it lets Mystic ball. But Mystic May's going to lose it coming out. Does he keep it out of the wall? Just about. So Mystic, oh, nightmare there for Mystic, who did so well to get the move done on Craig. Just found himself just getting a little bit twitchy. He's going to find himself at the moment. His tyres are going to be red hot and they're going to be sliding all about the place. So he's going to need to take it quite slowly. Let the temperature drop as Betrayer comes in and make his pit stop back onto the super soft tyres. So where does Betrayer drop back in? At the moment it's in 9th place. So, but he will be not far behind Mystic, who made that mistake on those soft tyres. Is Malk, and that's F1 WWFC 07, picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And Malk not having the best of days once again. Yeah, good evening, Mike. Good to have you here. It didn't look like on stream that they did touch. It may have been that Craig may have touched his rear wheel coming out of Stowe that slightly unbalanced the car, but from the on board where we were, couldn't see anything happening just then. But really unfortunate for Mystic, who really locked it in when we went to Monza last time out, but lucky there not to completely lose the car. At least he kind of kept it in the same direction. He can get back on the track quickly, and he didn't have to turn the car around, which probably would have dropped him outside of the points. Thanks for the score update there, Spud. That's unfortunately having to miss the football tonight, so that's what we want to see. Feel free to keep me updated, guys. So of course the love for our IRLs brought me into the commentary box. And so, instead of watching my beloved England, I'm sure Mike, as we know, loves himself some football, and we stay on board with Mero here, who's only 3/10 of a second behind Craig in the other Red Bull. So we'll get DRS coming onto the Wellington straight. Mera here stays 0.4 of a second, so that's the closest battle we've got on the track at the moment. There's the guys here. Yeah, I can indeed, not a problem there. So they've all made one stop. Not expecting anyone to make a second stop so far. So as you can see there, the gap back from the leader. So Stifler 4.3 seconds back from Joel. Jamie 13 seconds back on him, with Chill not far behind that. Joel has essentially run this race from start to finish exactly how he wanted it to be. So Joel, after setting a lap time in qualifying that was 0.8 of a second faster than anyone else, has come into this race and absolutely dominated start to finish. So as you can see there, places made off for the start. Jamie's moved up one place from 4th into 3rd, putting him on the podium. Mero D2 quite nicely picks him up from 9th position up into 6th, so nice there from Mero. As we go here, so there we go. So Jamie with the medium tyres is, Chill is right on the back of him. So Jamie on the medium, so he's on the Chill 0.2, 0.3 of a second behind Jamie in the Williams at the moment. So he won't get as good of a run as Mero. Picks up a 3-second time penalty. He won't get as good a run on those medium tyres coming out of the corner. So Chill tucks up nicely going down the hanger straight. Does get DRS, but Jamie seems to be running quite a nice setup with, he's fending off people down the straights quite nicely. So it's all about how Chill is going to try and get the move done around the outside. That would be a pretty spectacular move from Chill if he had got that one done. As we go back down, we see Mero D2, who's 0.2 of a second behind. It's kind of don't want to miss either one of these battles, as Chill and Jamie still fighting, and Mero and Craig having a cracking battle there. Yeah, so the Haas chassis much better than the Williams. I do find the Williams chassis is not the best on the circuit, so all about driver skill here. Where can Jamie put his car to kind of hold up Chill? And as we see, the Williams runs slightly wide coming out of Luffield there, so he's going to be compromised going into Woodcote, and he is. So Chill's going to be right in the gearbox, right up in the exhaust pipe of the Williams. As he makes the defensive line going into Copse, but that means that he's going to run wide, allowing Chill to come through, but he's not going to get a run. This, of course, this section of the track, not an overtaking unless you are an absolute psychopath. There's no way you're getting past anyone there. As we see in the background there, Mero and Craig split up a little bit there, so Craig just stretched out about 0.6 of a second on Mero over that lap. And it is Chill who's still the closest on track at the moment. As we see further down the grid, though, we do see Betrayer on those super soft tyres is caught up to the back of Mystic and the softs, as Chill's looking to the outside going into Abbey, as doesn't get a move as Craig picks up a 3-second time penalty. So I believe that's 6 seconds for Craig. As we see the Williams there, he's going to be really offline. He's going to have to really slow that the car down. And this means Chill's going to get another good run going down. So once again, Jamie pulls to the inside line, makes a defensive move. Chill's going to have to go around the outside if he wants to get this move done. Jamie's defensive driving today has been spectacular. He's just putting that car everywhere that Chill wants to go, and Chill really, really struggling to get past. So what this is doing, this is bringing the two Red Bulls into play. So Craig has moved right up to the back of these two. Jamie's just backing Chill Nidiant up into the Red Bulls, and it now means that Chill is going to have to start thinking about defending as well as attacking here. So he is indeed. So Jamie may be playing a bit of strategy here and a little bit of mind games and trying to back up Chill into the Red Bulls and hoping, as you can see here, so Craig's got a run on Chill going down the hanger straight into Stowe. Doesn't get the move done, but has that put off Chill? He does, but this has relieved Jamie a little bit, who's is Chill locking up going into the club there. And Craig seems to have dropped back a little bit, so Chill's looking at the outside of Abbey, which would be not going to happen, but he's going to come into the through the farm and into the loop section. Craig right. Oh, as you see Mero there. Oh, it's Craig's lost it going through into the loop section. So nightmare there for Craig, who was doing so well, but unfortunately drops it, lights up the rear tyres, going into the club section, turns his car around, and that's dropped him all the way back to 9th position. As we see Chill going round the outside, does he get the move done? He's crossed the white line, so he won't be able to keep that place at the moment, but he has kept the inside of Luffield. Oh. How's this going to figure going down into Cops? Oh, there's going to be a bit of wheel banging from the two of them, but it's going to be Chill that takes the lead. But does Jamie come back at him? But this is bringing Mero into play here. Mero's going to have to watch out because he's going to, like, just there. Jamie's compromised going into the first section, and that really compromised Mero behind, who had to stamp on the brakes. As Chill now kind of starts to make a break on Jamie. And it's Mero had an absolute mare coming out of the church section there and out of Chapel. Dropped right back down to 9th place, so must have run wide coming out Maggots and Beckett. So the two Red Bulls in one lap have gone from fighting for the podium all the way back to 8th and 9th place respectively. So not great to see from their perspective. As Betrayer, he's actually moved up into 7th place on those super soft tyres, and he's now starting to come onto the back of Mystic. He's not far behind at all. Now he's on the super soft, so he will have a huge advantage of the guys on the soft tyres. It's all about, as we said, Betrayer is going to be wanting to make up points on Nicky, who's not racing tonight, because Nicky leading the championship so far. But with Chill up in podium in 3rd position, taking home currently 8 points. Betrayer down in 7th, so Chill would actually, I believe, would take the lead of the championship by a point, possibly, to Betrayer, who would go above Nicky by 2 points. So kind of nightmare scenario for Nicky here, who's seeing himself sitting at home not being able to race, whilst the guys up here take points off of him. Now Betrayer's going to get DRS coming down on Mystic, going down the hanger straight, but Mystic's also got it on Toomas in the Sauber, as Mystic looks to go around the outside of Toomas. He doesn't get it done, but Toomas has just about kept the Haas driver behind him. As we see here, it does look like Mystic at this point in time is much quicker than the Sauber. The Sauber's just managing to kind of keep that car just about in all of the right places to keep the Haas driver behind. He doesn't want to get caught in the dirty air and get slightly twitchy, because that will let Betrayer in, and Betrayer doesn't need any more of an invitation to overtake. And of course, as Toomas makes a very, very incredibly defensive move, line there, took right to the inside of, if anything, lost quite a bit of speed pulling to the inside that harshly, and that's allowed Mystic through, and he's going to run wide coming out of Luffield as Betrayer. Oh, Betrayer gets slightly twitchy coming out of Luffield through Woodcote. So Toomas perhaps slightly too defensive coming out of that corner down the Wellington straight, and that's allowed Mystic to make the jump on him and move up into 5th position. Now it's the forgotten man at the top here, so of course you've got Joel, who's 9 seconds ahead of Stifler, who's Stifler once again having, as I say that, it picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's Stifler running nicely once again up in the podium position. So as I say most weeks, Mr. Consistent always seems to be running up quite nicely and running up in the high end or upper end of the table. As Malk picks up a 3-second time penalty. So, not a great race for Malk, who's found himself miles back down the grid, picking up penalties, running around on those medium tyres. So we'll go on board here with Jamie, who's in the Williams, so he's doing quite nicely in the underpowered, frankly quite rubbish Williams, doing quite nicely up in 4th position. I believe Mike, the fastest lap, I believe it was Stifler with a 32. The guys may be able to correct me that, but last time I saw it flash up, it was Stifler or Mero. Stifler and Mero were trading it earlier in the race, just after the pit stops. So we'll go back down to Betrayer, who's only half a second behind Tumas 53, who's in the Sauber. So Toro Rosso is going to come onto the hangar straight, get the DRS on the Sauber driver. So the Sauber's going to have to, once again, as he was doing a lap before, defend from a car from behind, and it's going to be Betrayer on those super soft tyres who's going to get a nicer drive. He's going to have much more grip with 2 laps left to go. As Mero D2 picks up a 3-second time penalty, so with the guys relatively close to each other at the moment, so 4th down to 8th position is only really split by around 6 seconds, so time penalties may factor into the end of this race quite a bit. So we'll just quickly look at the fuel load for some of the guys down the grid here. So we see Betrayer's got just over a lap of fuel to go, so can run rich. I would say pretty much can run rich to the end of the race, really put the pressure on Tumas, who's only 0.4 of a second over. So Tumas there is going to find himself perhaps having to move back into standard or even lean revs, and may have to fuel conserve over the last lap just to kind of keep Betrayer, who runs wide coming into Cops, behind him. So we go up, and Jamie also Mystic at 0.4, and it's Jamie at 0.6, and Chill, as we know, usually Chill likes to run with quite a light fuel load. You usually find him bouncing around just above running on empty, so very good at time management there. So it's Betrayer that's still the closest battle on the track at the moment. We're on lap 25 of 26, so 2 laps left to go. And it's Joel who has lost a little bit of time to Stifler 1980. So the time's actually dropped from 9 seconds down to just under 6. So maybe that Joel made a slight error and allowed Stifler to come back at him, but I believe Joel does have 3 seconds of penalties, but I think Stifler may do too, so they may avoid each other, as Mero sets the fastest lap there of a 1:31 flat, so quicker than some of the guys' qualifying laps there from Mero. So cracking lap there from him in the super soft tyres. Back, I believe Mero made a secondary pit stop. He must have done to move back onto the super soft tyres, so it does look like it's Mystic who's 0.6 of a second behind Jamie once again on those medium tyres. So it's all going to come down to last lap, as we see Betrayer's had to pull out of the throttle as he comes out of Chapel. So that's going to compromise him as he goes down through the hangar straight. So not what Betrayer wanted at all. He wanted to be right up the back of Tumas as we went into the final lap. As it's Mystic and Jamie who are not far behind Chill at all. So it's the Williams who's got the Haas for company. We've got a Williams sandwich here. So Chill looks like he's got 3rd place locked up, and Jamie's done very well to defend all race. And once again, I don't want to curse him, but he's done very well to keep that 4th position currently. We'll see what happens after the race with penalties, but it's been a cracking race for him, with especially on those medium tyres to keep the guys behind on those soft tyres. But towards this stint, of course, his tyres will be slightly fresher than the guys on the soft, so Should be getting slightly better grip, but obviously won't be running as fast pace as they were. Now Betrayer has fallen back 1.8 of a second to Tuma, so it looks like he's given up on that attack on the Sauber driver. So the closest battles we do have here, so I'll just go on to Joel quickly as he exits the final corner through Club and takes the race victory at Silverstone at the British Grand Prix. So congratulations there to Joel as we'll move down. Stifler 1980 picks up second place, so another great race there as we see Chilnillian coming under attack there from Jamie, who's looked to get the move done. Does he make a late move going into the Club section? He doesn't. Now this is where we'll see where do the penalties come into play, who moves up and who moves down. Chilnillian is going to provisionally take third position, Jamie takes fourth, Mystic takes fifth, Mystic moves down, Toomuth takes fifth, and Betrayer takes sixth. So Mystic moving down from fifth to seventh place. That's going to Craig takes eighth place with Eyemakers. He's going to pick up his first points of his Invictus Racing League career. He's going to pick up a credible 2 points in ninth position as he crosses the line in the Renault, with Mero, who's going to come across to pick up the last point in the Red Bull. Just about gets across the line. Styles it out, as only Mero can do, as Malk completes, as he said before in the lobby, he wasn't looking forward to this race at all. And Malk completes the race in 11th place, once again going home without any points. So ladies and gentlemen, that is your race for this evening. So the man of the day was Joel V520, who took home the race win quite comfortably. Let the lead drop down to around about 5 seconds towards the end of the race, but it was Joel that set the pace in qualifying and kept it going throughout the entire race. So hats off to him. He'll definitely, well, he's made up for his mistakes that he made round Monza last week. So well done, and we can expect to see him make a push as we go on through, as we see the penalties there. So it's 3 seconds for Joel, with 3 seconds for Chill, Jamie, Toomus, Mystic took 6, Craig took 9, Mero took 6, and Malk took 9. So we'll quickly go through the race instance here for the admin team. A couple of warnings here is what you can be expected as you go around this track. Fortunately for the drivers, they didn't pick up any time penalties when it came to pit stops. So Joel in first, Stifler second, and Chill in third place. So great result there for the Ferrari driver. Stifler will be happy as well, picking up that second place. Like I said, he's been awake pretty much non-stop all weekend after going to Le Mans, so coming back with no practice to come in and throw yourself onto the podium with a second place, making that 2 seconds in a row for Stifler. So getting in some decent points once again for the Renault team. So I believe that is it for this evening, guys. So thank you for joining me on stream. As always, it's been a pleasure to commentate for you. It's always great fun to hear from you and to get you engaging and talking in the group. So feel free to share this and let everyone know to come and join us again, so we can get more and more viewers each week. But thanks for joining me. My name is Captain Stiff. I will see you tomorrow night for the Performance League, where I will be in the viewership, and we'll have Malk and Craig at the helm in the commentary box, and then hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday night for the F1, F2 and F3 league. So make sure you sign up and make sure you subscribe on the Twitch channel. And for tonight I say good night and thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.